Let's check YouTube. All right, we are live. Welcome everyone to the Brave Asagi's, or rather the Midori Flash's Jobless Podcast. Well, it's not really true because I have a job, but I'm your host, Moot Monthly, and today we've got a lot to talk about. We've got the new arc. Finally, after a week-long break, we have begun the Terastal Debut arc, and it's come with a lot of changes. A lot of the changes were predicted, and some of them were less predicted. We have a lot to get into today. My main goals for today's podcast are to talk about, one, the new episode, in and of itself, the way it was structured, what we learned, what we didn't learn, what was there, what wasn't, the setup, how it sets up the current arc, basically a review of the episode. We'll also be talking about the new opening and the new ending. In addition to that, of course, we'll be talking about the arc at large. Now that we have a little more insight into the way it will be structured, we'll be talking about our predictions for it, how we feel about it, how it shifted, it kind of turned the whole series on its head. So we'll be talking about that as well. And we have the staff changes. We've had multiple different directorial changes, as well as, for the first time in I don't know how long, the team name and the animation producer behind the Pokemon anime has changed this episode. And of course, it's hard to tell whether that'll be like a major change or not. Personally, I doubt it. But it is something to talk about. We'll be talking about the studio's restructuring, Oriental Light and Magic's, or OLM's restructuring, with its teams and divisions and all that. Last but not least, we will be talking about the future. We do have, courtesy of some leak friends, we were the first to kind of talk about the upcoming episodes, new titles and summaries that will be released in Korokoro next week, about Horizons episodes 48 and 49. Well, of course, we'll also talk about 47, which is airing next week. But yeah, so those are the general points that I wanted to go through today. So I'm your host, Meet Monthly, and anyone else who's oh my god, one of our speakers is watching the episode right now. Oh my god, dude. You've spent 2 days yapping about it, and you're only watching it now? Are you dead ass? Are you serious right now? Dude, this is actually a classic for this server, bro. No one watches the actual show. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
I do.
No one watches the show ever.
Me too.
Yeah. So, with that said, let's get into it. First episode 46. So, this was an episode written by Dai Sato, who is the series composition and also probably the best writer to ever touch the Pokemon series in general. And it kind of showed. Even though this episode was very packed, it had a lot. It flowed very well. It had a lot going into it. They introduced, I don't know, like a dozen characters or some crazy shit like that, and reintroduced characters, and it still flowed pretty well. There was just a couple of pain points, of course, you can't really get into everything, but it served as a very good introduction. So we learned about the Terastal course itself. So Liko, Roy, and Dot are, after getting their asses handed to them by the Rayquaza and the Explorers for, I don't know, the third time, they have decided to enroll in this training course, which we learned in this episode isn't an actual, it isn't really, you're not getting enrolled in the school. It's just a course that they offer to, quote-unquote, authorized students who apply for it. It's like an open course. It's kind of like a university course that you can take without getting credit for it or something. It's kind of like that. So
it's basically an elective.
Yeah, And we've learned a little bit more about Orange Academy and also Liko's Indigo or Sekie Academy. Of course, judging by the name, you could kind of tell that the school did have ties to the Indigo League. People were speculating on that back when the academy was relevant a year ago, right? For all of 2 episodes. People were speculating on that it seemed like it had ties to the Indigo League, and those were confirmed. It's kind of interesting because, this question, the way Rika talked about the Paldean League and the Indigo League in this episode implies, at least to me, that Horizons is going for a more game-accurate representation of the Pokemon League, right? Because, in the Pokemon anime's history, usually the presence of the Elite Four and the champion and their roles in both society and actually as trainers has always been kind of murky. It's never been really consistent either. There was a whole thing with champion masters and stuff back in the DP Black and White era, right? And all of that. And we never really quite got definitively one, how the Elite Four and champion system actually works, and two, how to join it. Generally, I believe, because there's been conflicting information on it in the show. Generally, it seems to me like how it works is you have to win the Pokemon League. You have to win the conferences, the tournaments. And if you win, you have the right to challenge the Elite Four. And if you beat an Elite Four member in an official match, you can take their spot. And Elite Four members have the right to challenge the champion in order to become the champion of the region. That's what it seems like to me. That seems like how it works. Of course, the Elite Four and champion are very static in this in the anime continuity. Of course, they only change whenever they change in the games, and that doesn't happen very often. There was that one point in which Steven and Wallace... I don't know if Wallace was ever champion of Hoenn. I think he might have been in Diamond and Pearl. I don't remember.
I'm not necessarily sure, but I know that in AG there was a filler episode with Steven where he wasn't portrayed as champion.
Yeah. Okay, so Squeaky's saying he was. I'm going to defer to you guys on that because, honestly, the last time I watched DPN in its entirety was when I was a kid. I'm not even kidding. I've seen bits and parts of it, but I haven't watched the Wallace Cup arc in 12 years now or some shit. So yeah. So everyone's saying he was, so we'll just assume that. But of course, later on, when Steven became champion again in Oraz, they made him champion in the anime, and that stuck. Iris became champion off screen, and we don't actually know how she became champion. Drayden just said she became champion, and we just accepted it because there's no context at all. Did she fight the Elite Four? Did Alder retire and just give her the spot? We don't really know. So yeah. Anyway, that's why one of my nitpicks about Journeys was, it would have been kind of cooler if Iris became champion during Journeys, and actually we got to see an episode where she becomes champion, or 2 episodes, a back-to-back, where she becomes champion, because she becomes Ash's rival after the hyperclass, the superclass fight, and we get to see at one point she's a gym leader then, but then she becomes champion in Journeys. We get to see a 2-parter where she becomes champion. I think we should have gotten that, and it would have made the Cynthia battle a lot better, but that's nitpicking. Anyway, we're not talking about Journeys. Regardless, back to what I was talking about, because I think this is a topic that I'm going to tweet about it later, because I honestly didn't really think about this until I started talking. How are the leagues actually represented? Because, Rika talks about how both the Sekie and the Naranja Academies are designed to foster powerful trainers who can participate or support the league. And this is accurate, of course, for Scarlet and Violet, because in Scarlet and Violet, if you guys have played the games, the league is kind of like a business. Or it's like a little more than just like a random organization for dick swinging about, who's the strongest trainer or whatever. It's more like a business. At least that's how Jita treats it. She's always looking to find more trainers to become champion rank and stuff in order to increase the prestige of her league. And it seems, based on what Rika said, that that this notion in the anime is not just for Scarlet and Violet's league. But when you think about it, you kind of are like very confused because this has never been a thing in the anime, like leagues being like even just the presence of the Pokemon League. We've never seen anyone like challenge the league in the traditional way the games do it, in which a trainer challenges the Elite Four and the champion. We've never seen that in the anime, to my knowledge. Aside from exhibition battles where random people would fight like Elite Four members and champions, like random skilled local trainers. Like I remember it happened with that dude against Diantha. It also happened with someone else that I can't really remember off the top of my head. I remember there was
Alon against Malva and Seabolt.
Yeah, I mean Alon, but that wasn't like he wasn't doing like official battles. Like those were just literally he pulled up on them and he was like,
of course,
yeah, let's battle. Like he literally pulled up on them. That was funny. But with that said, like, what are we talking about here when she says increasing the power of the league? Are we going for a game accurate league? Because that means that the league works like it does in the games. I mean, even the anime, like when you think about it, Dot even calls her champion ranked, which means it works the same way. But does that mean they don't do tournaments? What does Jita mean when she says she wants to increase the number of trainers who can like support the league and all that? Like, how would they even support it? Like, how does that even work? Is there like an inter-league tournament? But that's completely contrary to the entire anime canon, the way it works, right? So it's very like the whole concept. Like, I can barely wrap my head around like what what this actually means. Because, we never really, even with gym leaders and how the gym leader system works, we kind of never really, like, I think there was that one time where a gym got evaluated by someone from the so-called Pokemon Association. Remember, it was like a Nurse Joy in disguise, and she had a Latios.
Nurse Joy with the Latios.
Yeah, Latios or Latios. I thought it was Latios, but regardless, like,
yeah.
There's like that can't be considered the proper canon though. I think that was just bullshit.
Oh yeah.
I think
I
think they were just taking the piss, and I don't think that can be considered like current, if you get what I mean. So like,
or maybe every region just does gyms differently. Also, there was that episode in the OS where there were two rival gangs fighting to get a recognized gym.
Yeah, and right. I mean, I generally, when it comes to like lore and world building, I don't really consider anything in OS to be accurate. But yeah,
No.
That's the point, is that it's inconsistent. We don't really get what they're trying to go for here. Like, are they just gonna do tournaments? In that sense, it's really odd. It's weird. I don't know if they're gonna do tournaments or like how the Paldea League even works. Like, okay, so does that mean that they actually will do like the whole Elite Four quiz thing? Because from the vibe we got from Rika is that she intends, like Rika intends to make Liko actually do the gym challenge, like actually do it. Like it's not like this Terastal course bullshit where they'll do 1v1s. Like she actually wants Liko to do it. That's kind of what Liko was. Not Liko, Rika. They're very similar names. Rika was implying, at least to me. Like that's what it felt like. So yeah, it's complicated, and I really have to think on this whole league thing because we don't really know. Like, and there's so many questions. Like, there's so many different aspects to it of like how it's gonna work. Will they even explain this? Because this is like they took like a completely different direction from the way the rest of the anime did it. And of course, the rest of the anime didn't really do it, which is kind of like the whole point, is that just the presence of the Pokemon League and the Elite Four in an actual, like, recognizable stance rather than just being like random imposing trainers who just have the title. Like, actually going into how it works and how you gain the title. Like, that's something the anime has never really done. And it has a very high likelihood, more than anything else, of breaking the whole canon of this is part of the Anime universe. In my opinion. Like, the mere fact of, like, and I say this because of the Kanto Academy. I don't really say this because of the Paldean Academy, but if in Horizons, after the gym challenge, the whole point is you do the gym challenge and then you just fight the Elite Four and stuff, or you participate in inter-region tournaments, then that means that's it. Like, there's no, like, league conferences in the same sense. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah. I mean, that could be... Yeah, Thomas, you do have a good point. Yeah, no, the thing is, Draco Leppy, the thing is with that is that even though it feels like the writers do whatever they want in this series, that's not really true, especially not, like, now. In Journeys, the writers were very, very careful with how they... I mean, even the writers themselves talked about how difficult it was to make sure everything was accurate to the canon, and that, the Pokemon that appeared in this episode actually had to appear in that region in the games, and, like, it would actually make sense for them to be there. They talked about how difficult it was to keep, like, type effectiveness straight during XY, for example, because of Mega Evolutions and stuff, changing typings and all that. And Yuyama even talked about how they were doing research to figure out, like, for the Banette episode, Mazase Pokemon Master, which aired last year, about how they have, like, a whole like, research notes thing for Pokemon. Like, for every single Pokemon, they have, like, research notes of how to portray them in the show. I think that they do, especially nowadays. Of course, back then they were kind of shooting the shit, right? But nowadays they do a lot more research and put a lot more thought into the stuff they do than a lot of people probably give them credit for. I mean, even me, like, I'll be the first one. Don't get me wrong. I'll be the first person to call them out on Twitter over some bullshit that they didn't do right. But I think that they do a lot of research, a lot of foresight, they put a lot of thought into stuff they do. And that's why I don't think they just made this change lightly. I think the reason they would make this change is because it suits the kind of plot they want to go for. And this plot is for, at least
character growth.
The intentions are for Rika intends for Liko to do the gym challenge properly and to compete in the league. She basically, from what I could tell, she basically wants to, like, poach Liko. That's what it feels like to me. And the Terastal course is designed for that.
Oh, what if there's that scene where Liko struggles to choose between, like, Freed and Gina, and whether she wants to be on the ship or in Paldea?
Yeah. I mean, that might happen. That might happen at the end. I think that this arc could be... I mean, we don't know, right? We don't know how far they're really going to go with this, or whether this is just, like, a little tidbit. Like, this is just, like, a little tidbit. But the way Rika repeatedly brings up the concept in the episode implies to me that this is actually going to be a major plot point. Like, especially given the fact that the champion and all of the Elite Four and Penny, for some fucking reason, although we'll get into the Penny thing in a bit, they were all watching her battle with Anne. And it wasn't just Liko who they were impressed with, but Anne too. And I think that also has to be kept in mind, that if... It might just be that Daisato is keeping the route open if he wants to do it. But if they lean more into the whole traditional trainer league route, and will definitely be Liko's rival. And they're kind of already building that up. It's very interesting, is all I can say. It's a very interesting arc, and the way they're doing it can shed a lot more light into the world building of Pokemon than really the anime ever did. At least with regards to gym challenges, the Pokemon League, etc. Of course, yeah, of course, Squeaky, that's what I'm saying, is that they're not gonna even get badges, right? But the point is that Rika wants Liko to actually do the gym battles and actually do the badges and stuff. They want her, she wants her to compete in the league in a proper fashion, which is a very, very interesting idea. So, with that said, that's enough schizo ranting. I think I ranted about that for like 15 minutes. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the actual content of the episode, right? So, Liko is keeping Terapagos under wraps. It seems like they are very cautious about letting anyone else see Terapagos, which of course we saw in episode 23. 23 with Kabu in the tunnel. And it started from there and it continued. Of course, it could just be that they're being cautious of the explorers, but I think they kind of realize now that just kind of like shooting from the hip with Terapagos isn't going to work. And they're being pretty cautious about, where it pops out. The battle of Anne, of course, was good. It was one of the better battles. Actually, I would say maybe even top 5 battles in the show so far, simply because it was an evenly matched fight that had a proper ending.
Well, we haven't had many traditional fights like that in Horizon.
Exactly.
Sorry for interrupting.
Exactly, right? So, in Horizons, there's a lot of draws or did not finish fights. Like, there's a lot of them. A lot. And there's also a lot of fights in which one person beats the shit out of another person. Both ways. Both the Explorers being the shit out of the Rising Volt Tacklers and the Rising Volt Tacklers being the shit out of the Explorers. Like, it went back.
Episode 40.
Yeah. There's a whole...
At the end of episode 40.
Yeah.
Liko got like magical leaf, and then they used that to crush Roy, just to show off how powerful magical leaf was. Just to step on Roy some more.
Dude, Roy is. I admire Roy for being so optimistic, even though he gets dumpstered. Like, I don't think he's won a single. He beat a Spearow, and I think he technically beat. I think he beat the Amethio Goon.
The who?
I don't even remember their name. Zur. Yeah, he beat Zur, right? Yeah, he beat Zur with Tantrum against Rhydon. That's like literally his only win ever. And after that episode, Zur and Konya literally like I think they appeared once in past.
In episode 25.
Yeah. In episode 25 is when Roy beat Zur. After that, they just don't show up at all. I think they showed up once in 34 or something. That's it. They never show up again, and that's good because Zur and Konya were fucking shit. Like, they was bad. Like, just write them out. Like, they're worthless. We don't care about them. They were a mistake to begin with. Like, I liked the fact that Amethio had goons because it gave him a little bit more of like a prince boy or like a rich boy vibe of like he has people to do shit for him. And the first couple of episodes, they were pretty competent, but the way they just like completely spill their spaghetti against people who've never battled in their lives is just But episode 5. I really liked episode 5. He did good. Zur was going crazy, but the way Konya jobbed to Liko in episode 5 and the way that
off-screen battle. I mean, Zur was getting one-shotted by Fuecoco, who just learned Ember.
Zur
that's
actually
crazy.
Tanked like the entire Rising Volt Tacklers crew and beat all of them by himself. But it doesn't matter because he lost to Fuecoco for no reason. Yeah, so I feel like, of course, you can't make them too competent because it overbalances the thing in the Explorers and one-sided to the point where Freed would be even more of a hog, like a spotlight hog than he already was. But it's still like it's like the incompetency to the point of like comedy was just like it didn't really fit. And I do like it is a little sad that I mean I don't want to say sad, but the Explorers definitely are leaning a lot more towards a comedic vibe these days, especially with, like the Sango and Onyx like buddy cop thing they have going on, which is fun. But it also is like it feels like the vibe of the show has completely changed. Like episode 1 and 2 and I guess 3 are a completely different show than like the show we have now. It's a completely different vibe. It's a completely different thing. And of course, that's mainly because of the presence of Amethio, who nowadays they are saving for like big climactic moments. But I feel like he should have more consistent appearances, in my opinion. It's a little weird that he never shows. Like,
he doesn't show up in the new.
If we skip to the end, it showed that like Freda's gonna try to do his own thing for a while, so maybe we'll get like snippets of Amethio bumping into Freed is what I think.
Yeah. But the problem with that is that the whole point of Amethio like warming up to the Rising Volt Tacklers is because of his relationship with Liko. It's not because of like Freed. So it's weird. I don't know. I think they should just show him more. Like, just show him training or doing something, like, just in small scenes.
Well, I mean, if they're doing a regional journey, I guess Amethio can just happen to be in some Palaean towns that Liko is in, right? Yeah. I guess there's not really any restrictions on that.
But Amethio has also been ordered to, to stop. Like, they've all been ordered to stop, like, interfering with Liko and to just monitor them. Which is what Sango and Onyx are doing, of course. But yeah, and of course, you have the thing with like the Sango episode, like next week with her like doing a baking contest. Like it feels like the Explorers have been like completely tamed, which is okay, right? Actually, it might even be better a bit because if they were super serious all the time, them losing all the time would like
they can't win.
Exactly. Which is why I've been saying this.
I mean, heck, if you remember, sorry to tell you over here, but I remember Jesse teams were actually a lot more like vile in like their first 2 episodes. Remember? Then they kind of almost you could argue the same thing happened with them.
Same thing happened at Team Rocket because in the early series, Team Rocket literally threw bombs at Ash and almost killed him.
Yeah.
And then later series are kind of just clowns.
Yeah, of course, but that's like just like a natural thing. But this, like, I get that they don't want to be super serious, but this is why I've been saying since the episode happened that Amethio should have gotten Moltres. He should have had it. Like, 1, it would have given a lot more stakes to each of the heroes things, and 2, it would have given them an actual stake in the race.
Yes.
Like an actual, like it feels like they're actually competing instead of just, the Explorers just watch helplessly as I keep collecting legendary Pokemon that in turn save me from the Explorers over and over again. Yeah. It, feels weird that the Explorers have literally lost every single time and have never won once. The only time they won was episode 2, and that's what felt so hard. That's why episode 2 went so hard to begin with, was because the villains won. Right?
If Sango is Anne, which the episode does not disprove they could be the same person.
Yeah, I mean, Sango and Anne, that theory, I think it's sailed. There's disparities in the amount of information that Sango had about Liko. Like, she would have known a lot more about Liko if she was Anne. Unless she's also keeping it from the Explorers, which I really doubt given her personality. She doesn't seem like a person who can keep a secret like that. Yeah, she's not Anne. It's just just overloaded on the brat characters. I don't know.
They could be a relative.
Of course, they could make her Anne anyway, but it would feel like a plot hole if they did. Like they might still
a relative.
They might.
Yeah, I think Sisters is the most likely if it's going to happen.
Yeah. Also, you have to do the whole thing with Sisters is very likely. I think that's a lot more likely and a lot more acceptable than Anne being Sango. Of course, that would also give us a little more info on how the Explorers knew about her and all that. If Anne was Sango's sister, that That's better.
Yeah.
That's better. I've never heard of someone saying that, but it's probably better. And you notice they actually have kind of similar hairstyles too, with the whole bun.
They have things.
Exactly.
They have things in their mouth around the same place.
Exactly.
Similar hairstyles and stuff. I actually do think that Sango, like them being sisters, is definitely better. Like, a lot of people want Anne to be Sango, but that would just be like one, that means Sango is actually bipolar. And two, that would mean that Sango, like Anne, was dipping from school constantly to go to Galar, of all things, for no reason. That doesn't seem like it would work.
Well, Anne is in Paldea for no reason. Like, why does someone living in Kanto need terastalization? But people in Kanto don't use terastalization.
Terastal course makes sense though. Like, it's an actual exchange student thing. Like, that's not wrong. I do hope that Anne shows up more, but I also know that there's no fucking way she does, and she's only gonna be in this one episode, and then maybe one episode at the end. I don't know. Like, unless they have episodes at the school, I don't really see them doing that. But given that this is Scarlet and Violet, they're never going to go back to the school. Just like how it's in the games. You never go back to the school for any reason ever. If you do, that means you're actually jobless if you go back to the school. Like, Razin was... There was this whole argument. Yeah.
Oh my god, Razin was taking the school stuff.
I do.
By the way, Moon...
What?
Why do you think caused Pokemon to finally go back to the regional journey after, they apparently sworn off after X and Y?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's because it works. And, this arc, I mean, in general, this series, had a lot more, focus on Paldea from the jump, given the fact that, Terapagos just by in and of itself. But also, Lycos from Paldea and all that. It feels like this... I mean, we've already talked a lot about theories as to why they changed back to this formula. I mean, and, we have all of the staff changes and stuff with Tomiyasu being back in charge and all that. It really does feel like a course correction in a sense. Like, we were kind of arguing back and forth, like, a couple weeks ago. I was like, is this a course correction, or was it all planned from the jump?
It seems oddly well planned, the way Nemoto is in episode 10 and stuff.
It doesn't feel like a knee-jerk reaction. Of course, parts of it do feel like a knee-jerk reaction, like, specifically the whole thing with Sengo. Like, that's 100% a knee-jerk reaction to how popular she was in Arc 1. Like, Arc 1... is happening, she's ridiculously popular. She literally blows up on Japanese Twitter, like a ridiculous amount. Like, she was top trending on Japanese Twitter for like a day or something when she got killed. And then end of Arc 1, pre-production of Arc 3, they're like, okay, people fucking love Sango. Let's give them some Sango. And we also saw more of Sango in the later episodes of Arc 2 as well, right? So it's kind of obvious, like, that's what they're going for, is they're trying to they're capitalizing on our popularity, which isn't a bad thing, right? Like, I mean, I was talking about this with people on 4chan the other day, and it was like, it's not illegal. What's good? It's not illegal for them to use popular characters, right? Like, it's not like, okay, yeah, they're shoehorning her in a little bit. Yeah, it does feel a little forced, but who cares, right? It's not really a big deal whether they choose to use her over Amethio. And
they haven't done it badly.
Yeah, and Amethio, like, the thing with Amethio is if you have him in, it just changes the tone in and of itself. Like, the show instantly becomes a lot more serious. Characterization matters a lot more. You can't just kind of fuck around like you can't do a baking episode with Amethio, right? So the dialogue matters a lot more. You have to be a lot more careful and all that, which is why part of the reason why Amethio doesn't show up all that much. I do hope that in this arc, though, we get to see Amethio doing something, like not in Paldea even. Just have him doing something. Show us scenes. Give us maybe like 5-minute excerpts every now, or not even 5, like 3-minute excerpts, like every half dozen episodes. Just give us something so we know he still exists. Because it's kind of crazy that he was kind of framed as the main antagonist in episode 2, and he's basically been written out of the show just because it's too hard for them to write him. Like, it's like they can't. He's too strong, and also he's like he doesn't fit the tone they're going for in this shift. Like, they're going through a whole paradigm shift in Horizons right now, and Ametheo's tone does not fit it. Like, even the opening, I said this when the opening came out, and we're going to talk about the opening in a little bit, but the opening fits the current tone of Horizons very well. Like a peppy K-pop band song. Like, that's how Horizons feels right now, right? It's very upbeat, not frivolous. I don't think even now Horizons feels frivolous like Journeys did, but definitely more lighthearted and upbeat and kind of focused on kids journeying around and stuff. Even though with stuff like Sango, like you could see, remember the mood instantly changed as soon as Sango and Onyx entered the hall, like the library or where the entrance hall of the school.
The entrance.
You know, and Liko and Roy and Dot's like moods instantly changed. You know, like they started being a lot more serious. So that seriousness is still there, but it's not gloomy all the time. It's not crazy all the time. It's not literal like back alley fights, explosions everywhere. You know, kidnapping, all of that, assault. That the first arc of Horizons had, right? It's not
Assault.
like it was assault on both fucking sides too. Like Freed tried to Spinel wasn't there, but Freed tried to corner Spinel in an alley. He was gonna beat the shit out of him, and he also was about to beat the shit out of the guy on the cargo ship too, right? Like actually, like he had his shirt grabbed and everything, right? Like he was about to beat the shit out of him. So that's what I'm saying. Like Arc 1, both sides did not really fuck around at all. But now, you know, it's kind of like a Cold War sort of thing. The Explorers are not, they're biding their time, they're monitoring, they're not really doing much. The Rising Volt Tacklers are licking their wounds because their ship got Rayquaza'd and they can't really do anything. They're all stationary. Because that was the biggest advantage Rising Volt Tacklers had was their mobility, right? So they can't really do anything. They're stranded effectively in Paldea. They can't go after the heroes right now, not really. I think Freed's gonna go like solo spelunking into Area Zero or some shit. That's what it felt like. But regardless, that's the.
I think it could.
Okay, Cleaver.
Ooh.
It's just Serenitrum. They can't go to Unova, right? And if Cleaver's only found there in the past, then you know something's got to give for that.
Well, I think that it's a very hook, line, and sinker that they're going to actually, like, people were expecting Entei to be the last one, not only because Entei was shown last in the opening and stuff, but because it's a fucking Entei, right? But I think it's kind of telegraphed a little bit that Entei is going to be gouging Flame, and it's going to be in this arc. And Cleaver is going to be the last hero, and Anne's going to go with them, with the whole, like, Hisuian Samurai and all that. I feel like that's, like, that is the thing. If it's just going to be a Cleaver that's in a nature park or something, or it's going to be like a fossil they have to dig up and then revive, that's going to be cringe. I don't think it's going to be that.
Revival.
No, it's not going to be like that because they're in balls. I forgot. Rayquaza's going to go open it from the ball. So actually, that's not the case. So it could just literally be... Actually, they don't even need to go back to Hisui for it. If you think about it. He's been sitting in the ball for 100 years. Right? So,
yeah, sure.
Actually, no. Cleaver can literally be in some random fucking place. Actually, never mind. He could literally be in Paldea. I forgot. He could be in Paldea or something. I completely forgot. There's no Hisui, actually. But I wish they did that. But it's kind of too late. They kind of missed the boat. Like, they actually missed the boat. Like, they're going to do Kalos. The last arc is going to be Kalos. So, you know, you have Zygarde and stuff. Like, we're going to be getting a Kalos arc for sure. With that said, we kind of went over the whole episode, I think, right? We kind of went over the episode.
Wait. I think the starting of episode 46 really resembles the starting of, like, the beginning of any Pokemon series. You start with the girl's bedroom, and then you introduce them like that.
Too. I think that this is very interesting. You know, people were talking about, you know, why did they do a year-long prologue, right? But the thing is, people are kind of mistaking the forest for the trees a little bit. This arc is an arc. The rest of the series is not going to be a gym challenge with one gym battle every 10 episodes. They're doing 3 gym battles in the next 3 episodes, right? This shit's going to be like 25 episodes max. And I'm betting the second half is either going to be Gouging Flame or Koraidon. One of the two with Arven. And of course, having this arc now, the traditional arc, it does a lot of things. It's like 5 birds with one stone. But the reason why it feels so exciting, the reason why it feels so impactful, is because you had that year-long prologue. You had that year-long slow burn characterization and team development, right? Each member of the trio has 2 mons. One of them's evolved. A lot of them have new moves and stuff, and they're capable of actually fighting gym leaders and not feeling like kind of unrealistic for them to beat them, right? And you also have all the characterization. You have all of the history. You have, the ability to bring in people like Sango and Onyx and it actually feel ominous. You have all the things circling around them with Gibeon and the Rising Vault Tacklers doing their own shit. And you have, the Pokemon League stuff and the whole thing between Naranja and Seikei Academy and all of that, right? You have stuff like Anne. You have stuff like Nimona. Like, Roy already has a relationship with Nimona, right? Like, there are so many things, so many positives to this. And I feel like it's very interesting. Because we very rarely... It's something that only happens in very good literature, where the start of a quote-unquote hero's journey or whatever is in the middle of the story. That's not something that happens very often. It's something that I've experienced in a fantasy series that I'm reading right now called Malazan Book of the Fallen. It's, I think, the most complex book series I've ever read in my life. It's like 3 million words long. It's extremely complex. It has over 450 different points of view, like characters that are...
Whoa!
Yeah.
And I thought A Song of Ice and Fire was hard.
Yeah. What? A Song of... No. A Song of Ice and Fire is not even fucking close. I think, A Song of Ice and Fire, the only thing that it might have better of, it's like better politics and more like noble houses and stuff. Because generally, the conflicts in... Malazan is a war epic, okay? So, like, every single book in the 10 books is centered around a war, like a campaign of several battles. Like, that's how basically everything is. And I think that like each war is between like 2 sides, and of course each side might have multiple factions or whatever, but it's kind of very straightforward. Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire isn't really straightforward with its conflicts. Which, and of course, world building wise, I think that A Song of Ice and Fire has a better world in a sense, but Malazan has better history and stuff because the writer was an anthropologist, and you could really tell in the way he wrote so many different cultures, and ancient races and stuff. It really is like Malazan.
Wait, is that like Garden of Eden, Garden of the Moon? That
Garden
book?
of the Moon is...
Oh, yeah.
Gardens of the Moon is the name of the first book. Yes. Gardens of the Moon. Garden of Eden is a different series. But Gardens of the Moon is the first book in that series. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I've read TV tropes about it, LOL.
Yeah, it's an extremely good series once you read it. But anyway... The point I was making, let's talk about Pokemon a little bit, right? The point I was making about this arc, about bringing up Malazan, was that you don't really see the start of a quote-unquote hero's journey in the middle of a series. Because it makes the journey that much more impactful. Every decision the character makes has more weight behind it. And, the battles they have, the relationships they form and all of that, they all feel stronger in a sense. Normally the way that these stories like Star Wars or Aragon, which is based on Star Wars, or other things do it, is through a mentor character or a close friend of the person dying. Even in the fantasy book I write, I do it the same way. The main character's boyfriend dies like 3 chapters in, right? And I do that to give it more attention and stuff. But in this series, they've already experienced hardship. They've grown from it. Of course, one can argue whether their growth is consistent or good, but they have grown, right? Their characters are in a much stronger place than, for example, Ash's was in the original series, from a writing standpoint. Of course, whether their characters are actually strong, like, their personalities or whatever, are good is a different topic altogether. But I'm talking about the development and all of that. So, that's kind of how I feel about the arc starting now. With that said, I think we've kind of gone into the episode itself good enough. Let's talk about the opening.
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
I have an idea. Horizons perhaps is slightly watchable starting from episode 46. You just watch.
Arc 1 is literally the best Pokemon has ever been. Like, I don't except the Galar arc doesn't count. All right, Arc 1 except the Galar arc. First 18 episodes, best Pokemon's literally ever been ever. There's a few bad spots in between. Like, for example, the Oliva arc was a little mid, but the Spinel arc, amazing. First arc, amazing. Right? They were both good. And yeah, so especially the Spinel arc. I think the Spinel arc is literally like the peak of villain arcs in Pokemon. The actual peak.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, bro. Anyway, that's enough about the actual episode. Let's talk about the opening and the ending a little bit. So, Will by IVE, the first K-pop band to sing in Pokemon. What do you guys think, song-wise? First, the song.
And certainly, it very much feels like, those school songs from the movies of the early 2000s, like sort of the band, like the marching band feel.
And all that, yeah.
Drumline. It kind of gave me those vibes, which I guess is good because it is a school.
Yeah, that's true. I think of the song, of course, the song isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's a very modern, like kind of like K-pop shit. Like, it's the definition of K-pop shit. But I think it fits. I said this earlier. I think it fits both the opening and the arc itself very well. Like, way better than like many openings in the past past decade, really. I think it fits like a glove, really. It really does. The only openings that really resonated with the content of the show like that
Future Connection.
Yeah, I was gonna say Future Connection and Ikaze, that's it.
XYZ.
Yeah. Get the Bonbon was also very good, but I feel like Get the Bonbon only worked for like the first 15 episodes. After that, it's kind of disconnected. Because there's a ridiculous amount in XY between episodes 55 and 70. There's a ridiculous amount of character development from basically every single character. But after that, it kind of cools off for a while until XYZ. But 1, 2, 3 worked for, I think, the first year. It worked really well for the first year. I liked the second year, but it didn't really work that well. The third year was decent, but the last opening of 1, 2, 3 literally eclipsed the show. It was the opposite of what openings normally are. Openings are usually kind of like a letdown or something of they aren't as good as the show or whatever. 1, 2, 3 version 4 was 3 times better than the actual show's content. It felt like a scam when you were watching it. With that said, opening decent. Animation wise, pretty good. There were a few questionable scenes, especially in the second half of the opening visually, when they're running and they're running along grass, and then there's a bunch of PNGs of the gym leaders. For some reason, that wasn't animated. I don't really know why, and I'm trying not to doom post about the animation because I'm actually getting skittish about it. It feels like they're purposefully stretching their shit out. You're putting good action animators on Professor Freed segments. The action director left. You want to do battles every single episode. Gym battles. And you're cutting corners in the opening. And there was 6 animation directors this episode. You know, I don't know. That feels scary.
Better go make a way and make 3 episodes.
A little scary. I am, a little scared. I can't lie. I am. I mean, Horizon's first year had a pretty fucking solid production. I think the solidest and most consistent it's been since XY. Sun and Moon had really great episodes, but also had very, very shit ones. Journeys had like 1 good episode every 4 months. It's okay. But Horizon's first year was extremely consistent with some standout moments. Of course, not too many standout moments. Not too many like crazy good episodes, but some extremely good ones. And if we start losing that right when the content is starting to actually ramp up, that's gonna feel kind of sucky, because it would kind of suck if the best battles were just Freed versus Amethio round 5 and 6 or whatever the fuck.
That'd basically be a repeat of what happened in Journeys. So that'd be kind of funny in a weird way.
The thing is, I don't really feel like it's like that. It might just be because of like the OLM restructuring happening right now. Although I feel like I don't even know how that would even work. I don't think anyone would, except that one dude who always posts in the general chat, and he can literally predict producer changes a year in advance for no noticeable reason, but he just it's just with this specific studio that he knows everything about. I don't know why, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's a little worrying, a little bit. There's not I can't say shit's hitting the fan, because it's not yet, not really, but it is a little worrying. There's a lot of different factors which could result in a decline in animation quality, which I really don't want to happen, because Horizons looks really damn good, especially when it's in-house, full try hard, right? Episode 14, 16, 18, 25, 34. 45 had Shinohara corrections and kind of looked a little goofy. Yeah. These episodes have amazing cuts, amazing stuff. So I really hope that this shit continues, just because I like it. But yeah, with that said, let's talk about the ending a little bit. Ending, banger. I don't care what anyone says. The ending is actually the best ending since Kira Kira, and honestly, it's as good as Kira Kira. I said it. It is.
For real.
It is. It's that good. I maybe it's just because I'm so used to kindergarten singing and raps that I'm freaking out over having an actual song be the ending, but it's almost to the point where I wish that song was the opening song. Imagine how fucking hype it would have been if that was the opening song. And of course the opening visuals would change to match and all that. But yeah, I can't. That song is a little too hyped to have as an opening song for Pokemon. I don't know. But the ending is awesome. And the visual direction of the ending, I actually need to look at that. I'm going to go look and see who directed this, because it's amazing. God damn it, he didn't link it in this chat. I have to go to the other one. Let me
battle. Let me battle.
No. I have to search from Dami in.
Wait, are you talking about the ending?
Yeah, the ending staff
Oh,
list. I don't have
yeah. Storyboarded and directed by our goat, Tomiyasu.
Are you serious?
That's the goal.
No,
That's the goal.
Dude, he's too good. I don't know. I hate him, but he's so good at his job, dude. Oh my god. Dude, it's actually amazing. I don't know what to say, dude. I watched that, Like, I watched the opening 10 times, and then, like, I was very scared of watching the ending because I know Griffin said last week that it had an actual song. So I was excited for it, but I was also scared it was going to be shit again. And then, like, 4 hours after the episode aired, like, in the middle of the day, I was at the library. I was like, okay, fine. I'll fucking watch the ending. And then it hit me. I was like, what the fuck? It's so good. And I listened to it, like, literally 30 times that day. I'm not even kidding. Like, I was in the bathroom, and I just kept listening to it over and over and over again. And now I'm kind of sick of it, but it's very good. It's very, very, very good. And yeah. Yeah, I like the ending a lot. With that said, all right, that's the opening, ending, episode done. Let's talk a bit about the arc. So, I mean, we already kind of talked a bit about it, but let's kind of get our thoughts in order a bit, okay?
Have we talked about how we think the paradox months will be handled?
Ooh, that's another thing. I mean, I was gonna talk about that. I was gonna talk about the arc, just in general, what we have and what we don't have, okay? And the paradox is something we don't have. So we'll get into that for sure. If you have a theory, we'll talk about it. So, Paldea, Scarlet and Violet. These games are, arguably, in the entirety of the 3D era, the games with the most effort or attention to their story of any of them. More so than even Sun and Moon. In this game, the story and the characters are the focus of the game. Of course, the open world spectacle and all of that is nice. But more so, I think, than any of the other games, the story and the characters are the focus. Which I think is part of the reason why the showrunners decided to be more focused on Paldea this time around than than Journeys. Of course, the complaints are probably part of it. But they realize that, I think it has to be realized that if you're going to involve Paldea, you have to do its story justice. You have to do its character justice. Because Area Zero is, I think, one of the best climaxes of any Pokemon game ever. And it would be kind of a crime to skip it over. Right? In my opinion. So, let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about how much are they really going for the games. Of course, we talked a bit about, like, game accuracy when it comes to the league, but I'm talking about in a general story sense, right? So we've got Nimona. She's champion ranked. We have the Elite Four and the champion, whose goals seem to be pretty similar to that of the games. Then we have Penny. And Penny is the most head-scratching part of all of this, okay? There are a couple of different aspects I wanted to talk about Penny. The first is that her personality seems to have been changed from her in the games. I don't know. It feels like her being with, and I think Thomas was talking about this, or someone was talking about how Penny, maybe I just read it on 4chan, I'm just being like schizo, but someone was talking about how Penny being with the Elite Four is out of character for her on many levels. First level, of course, is that she wouldn't even care about this stuff to begin with. She wouldn't be caring about someone battling outside to begin with, or it doesn't matter to her. Second thing is, she would not be walking with the Elite Four while doing so, because one, I think she had a lot of contempt for the whole system that Paldea had, and from what I remember of the game, it's been a little while since I played. Okay, so if I have that wrong, someone correct me. But from what I recall, she had quite a bit of contempt for the system because of the way it treated her friends, right? So, I think that while... Yes, schizo. Yes, schizo. That's how you say it, motherfucker. That's how you say it. Of course, if you're talking about schizophrenia, that's different. Schizo is its own word and its own thing. I'm not going to say schizo, okay? I'm going to say schizo. That's just how it is. Okay? It's internet lingo. It's how it is. They're pronounced two different ways. Just get off my dick. With that said, we're talking about Penny, right? And Penny wouldn't, if it's accurate to her game character, she would not be hanging with champions in Elite Fours like that. She wouldn't. Because yeah, she technically is strong enough to be on their level. Like she's strong enough to be a gym leader or like a course leader in the Terastal course. She is. But she has a lot of contempt for the way it's run. And so I don't think that she would even be with them unless they're significantly changing her character. With that said, how much are they really changing her character? Because in the opening, she's hanging out with Dot. And she's acting like Dot, where she's like off in the corner and like barely moving with the song. Like whenever she's like dancing, she's just like moving her phone back and forth like this. It's like, what are they doing, right? Like how much is, if her personality isn't that much different, then why the fuck was she there? Of course, the meta answer is that yeah, it's because they need to show all of the characters watching Liko and becoming aware of Liko. And they didn't even have the screen time in order to let Penny talk. So Penny was just standing there with them for no reason. I don't know. Like it was like a meta writing thing, but it makes it so out of place that it actually has become like the one major pain point for me of the episode. And yeah, it makes zero sense, especially because Penny's such a big character in the games.
Well, can I throw in what I think?
Of course. Go ahead, bro.
So I think that, like, they'll sort of, like, imply that, like, the Team Star storyline, it, like, already happened. It's, like, been resolved, and so she's, like, at peace with, like, the school now. That's what I think. This is sort of will be implied.
You see, that's what I thought, too. But, I posted that on Twitter. Let me go pull it up. I posted it on Twitter when it happened. Let me go see if I can find it.
Because if Team Star was in Horizons, we'd see them in the opening, right?
What? Yeah, we probably would. So it's a little weird that we didn't. Where is the Penny tweet? I don't see it. Oh, it might have been before the episode aired. Oh, yeah, here it is. So I posted that, and but a lot of people were telling me, well, yeah, but, game characters, like, the anime doesn't have to follow the game. But as we saw in the episode, they seem to be wanting to follow the game a lot more, right? They want to follow the games more accurately, even down to the leagues and stuff. So I don't really get what they're doing with Penny. I really don't. Like, it's a very confusing thing where on the one hand, they want to be game accurate to her personality, but on the other hand, they're doing random shit like this. Like, even if it's for a meta reason, it feels extremely jarring, right? The third and final thing is, of course, merch, right? We see Penny Sylveon with a Hattrem. Now, it's pretty clear to me this means that Penny will probably be involved with Hatena evolving, which is a little odd considering that it feels like in the opening that Penny's supposed to be hanging out with Dot. So
wait, so Penny might do us a great service. Liko doesn't need to have an Eevee because of her.
Oh my god, dude, if Liko got an Eevee, bro, I would actually, I would just quit. I'd give up. No, they're not doing Eevee. They're not. Don't even say that. Okay, don't even say it. Don't even say it, dude. Like,
mascot.
I don't want to jinx that shit into existence. Now, Meowscarada is so popular that they might just say, okay, fuck Eevee. Like, Meowscarada, especially in, like, the TCG, like, in every aspect. Like, VGC is popular, TCG is popular, and also in Unite, it's ridiculously popular. So,
ooh, prediction.
So,
are they gonna keep Meowscarada in a ball? Like Cinderace?
No, they don't keep, no, because,
Florigito stays out of his Pokeball.
Oreo's Metagross and shit's not in a ball, ever, so, no, I don't think so. They're not gonna do that.
So, it's gonna walk along Liko, all the time.
Yeah, I think their only reason they didn't, the only reason they, they're not doing that with they didn't do that with Cinderace, but that's just because like Go replaced it with a Grookey and a Sobble, like a Sobble and then a Grookey after. I don't think that I don't think Liko and them are gonna catch that many Pokemon. Probably gonna be 3 max. Like Liko already has 3. Like she already has Terapagos, so I don't think she's gonna catch a third. They're going so slow that it feels highly unlikely that they'd each get up to 6. It feels impossible.
I mean,
And that's fine.
they don't need 6
Exactly.
for,
They don't.
for
They
the.
don't. Especially because there's so many protagonists. Like all the Rising Gold tacklers have Pokemon too. Like, nah, it's good. It's fine as it is. Oh. Then there's there's a Headtram and stuff. I don't see the need. I don't see it at all. Anyway,
I mean,
so we've talked about the stuff we have. We have Nimona. She's gonna be fucking around with Roy. It is what it is. Penny, like probably Dot and Liko to some extent. Then we have Arven. Well, this is when we get into the things we don't have. Arven.
So, you know how Luzamine was made much nicer and kind of heroic by SM Anime? I think the professors are going to get that treatment. I don't think there's any way the anime lets them be as they were.
No, I think they will, because the anime, when it comes to the game villains, like, they are very oddly, like, accurate. Like, to the point of, like, being weird. Especially in Tomiyasu's series, right? Like, in Sun and Moon and Journeys, they are very, very game accurate, to the point of, like, they literally, like, especially in Journeys, they literally just did the game script, but a little rushed, and in 4 episodes, like a movie. Right? Like, and it was almost jarring, because there was no build-up or follow-up to the Eternatus thing until the very last episodes of the show, where it felt like they just remembered it existed.
Yeah, I have a theory for why that is. I have a theory for why they did that in Journeys, and it's mainly because I think in the original script of Journeys, they wanted to make the series mostly Galar focused, but then they rushed the Galar stuff to get to the Ash ending stuff.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, they weren't game accurate, but they did the plots, right? They did the evil Lusamine, like, jellyfish plot. They did the whole Ultra Necrozma thing, I think. I watched Sun and Moon on 2x speed most of the time. So, yeah. I rewatched it, but it was like, I don't know. I was so pissed at Lily being so useless that I literally, like, I wasn't really paying all that much attention when I watched it. I'm not gonna lie. Razin, this is a I did not watch the show moment. What do you mean by they weren't game accurate? In what way? Their personalities or the execution of the plots? While he's typing both? Okay, well, you have to be a little bit more elaborate than that, okay? Anyway, so while he's typing that out, I don't think that they'll just, like, not make Sada a robot, because it's very clear they're going for the Scarlet story, right? So we're gonna be getting Koraidon. Maybe they'll show Koraidon too, but who gives a fuck, right? Yeah, they're different characters, but I'm talking about, like, the way they did the whole Nihilego thing and all of that. But regardless, anyway. So I think we're going to be getting an Area Zero arc. I think it's kind of impossible to avoid, especially with Terapagos. Even if you try to make it where Rakua is, like, and Rakulium, whatever the fuck that is, are, like, the big parts of Terapagos' story, I still think that its, like, power and all of that will be based on Area Zero, simply for the fact that they introduced the Terra Crystals and stuff in this episode. Like, that shit is Terapagos. Like, that is what it is. So you can't, like, just ignore it, right? Like, you can't just skip over it. So I think we are going to get an Area Zero arc in which we'll actually learn more about Terapagos, or rather, the anime viewer as well. Of course, people who play the game already know what Terapagos is. But I don't think they're just going to completely just disregard Area Zero and all that. I mean, the fact that Arven hasn't showed up yet is extremely conspicuous. Like, extremely conspicuous. So either they're going to do it properly, or they're going to skip over it entirely. Now, part of me feels like if they are doing Arvin, they should have introduced him. Okay, yeah, too many characters. It doesn't matter. Like, are you really gonna do the whole no follow up, no build up thing again? Like the no follow up, no build up thing again with another game arc?
Wait.
Like, really?
No. They can follow the school arc up with the Area Zero stuff.
Yeah, but it's like, are you gonna spend that much time? Like, it should all be in the same arc, I think. Like, are you gonna spend that much time in Paldea? Actually, no. Dude,
I mean, they could.
Like, you know, dude, I am not a shonen guy at all. At all. I think that Pokemon should be a shonen because, or maybe a shoujo. But
This is a shoujo.
no, it isn't anymore because Amethio fucked off. That Amethio was literally the shoujo guy. He actually was. Like, the vibes completely changed. This shit's just regular Kodama shit now. It actually is. But I think that Pokemon should be a shonen because it fits so ridiculously well that it feels like a crime when it isn't. Like, dude, a Pokemon series with teenage main characters instead of children, in and of itself, would be ridiculously good. But we're never gonna get it. Of course, with adults it would be even better. But like, if it was just the RBTs, for example, it would be ridiculously good too. But it's never gonna happen, so we shouldn't even really be considering it. Anyway, let's check out YouTube.
Tragic.
I'm sure that my YouTube shit actually has been working this whole time, and it's not. Okay, yeah, it looks good.
Oh, I see.
This is actually, I think, the highest concurrent viewers that it's been. It's like consistently been 5 the whole time. That's kind of surprising. Normally it's like 1 or 2. Oh, it's getting better, guys. With that said, Arvin, he should be built up. The arc should be built up. We should learn more about his character before you rush everything in 4 episodes, Tomiyasu. Do not make this mistake again. Do you understand me? Do not make the same mistake again for I don't know how many fucking times. Like, just do the build up. Just do it. It's less that I'm becoming a celebrity and more that I'm just like actually tweeting again. I think that's the only reason why there's more viewers. Actually, I think it's literally just because I've been tweeting again. That's it. I don't know. Like, I tweeted for the first time like last week in like months. Like, seriously tweeted, and now I'm tweeting back again, and I've got I don't know how many. Let me check my analytics. Anyway, what I was talking about was.
Yo.
Oh boy, here we go. Oh, who joined? Anyway, I was talking about how Arvin should be built up. I think he should. I think that hiding him for this long was a mistake. Give me one moment. I need to go do something.
What the? What is Moot talking about?
Shut up, Brandon. Shut up.
He really wants Arvin to show up early
He wants Arvin
so
to
they can like do the Area Zero thing justice.
I agree.
Are they gonna go? I don't think so. I think so, but I don't think it's anytime soon.
I mean, at least Moon argued that like Terapagos being there means like there has to be Area Zero.
I saw his face.
I think well, most of us have done that at one point or another. We've accidentally turned on the video camera for a second.
My bad. Yo, I saw his face. I should have screenshotted.
No, that's bad internet behavior.
Ricky got a crush on Argan now.
Oh my god.
I was joking, don't worry.
Add to his files.
Anyways, so Arvin. I think it's pretty clear that 1, they're going to be adjusting the opening to put Arvin in it, and 2, Arvin is going to show up, and they're going to do a whole Koraidon arc. I think they wouldn't have put it in the I don't think they would have put them in the ending if they weren't going to do that. Like, there's no way that's just like a little nod. Like, I don't think so. So yeah, I mean, it's clear they're kind of blowing through the gym challenge part, and as I was saying earlier, this whole Terastal course does not feel like it's gonna be just the course and that's it. It feels like, well, one, Rika has bigger designs for Liko. Two, Arvin isn't anywhere. I think we are going to be getting like a grander Paldea arc, which of course includes Area Zero, but might include other stuff too. That's my opinion. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about staff changes. A little bit. So Tomiyasu's become the executive director, and Yajima is gone. We kind of already talked about this a lot, but we have these two big changes in the directorial side of things. Razin, dude, you're
Just have it wait and make all the episodes.
Razin, can you like mute yourself when you're not talking because you have so much background noise all the time? Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, actually, for real, like it's kind of insane.
Mute yourself, bro.
He's not even on his phone. I don't even think he's like listening. Anyway, with that said, we have these staff changes. Pretty big. Tomiyasu, it's hard to tell whether he's taking a more hands-on role or a less one. Maybe his role isn't really changing at all, and they're just reverting back from the tri-director thing, because it's pretty clear that the tri-director thing was kind of just training reels for Sariden, but still, Yajima fucking off is not a good sign. In my opinion, it's not a good sign. It was kind of hard to tell like what he was doing and how involved he was in each fight, but I don't think losing an action director is ever like a good thing. Maybe it'll only be a slight negative, or maybe nothing will happen at all. But it's not good. Tomiyasu, of course, taking the reins is like a whole other thing entirely, right? Like, personally, I don't really agree with Tomiyasu's directing style, like, almost at all. But he does know what he's doing. And it's kind of like, I feel like Horizons will be more firm, in a sense, than it was previously, right? That's part of the, Razin was talking about this earlier, is that he was saying that it's like inconsistent. And that's true. Arc 1, Arc 2, characterization of Liko and stuff was inconsistent. Characterization of Roy was inconsistent. It had really good moments, but also had very confusing ones. And it's weird because it shouldn't be that way, considering who's writing it. But at the end of the day, things like characterization are an episode-by-episode basis, and that's a directing issue. It's not like a series composition issue, which is done, the overall plot isn't the same as the thing. Is because, if you look through the whole overall plot, their characterization makes sense, the progression of their characterization. But when you talk about like their decision making in individual episodes, usually the ones that are not written by story writers, it gets a little confusing, a little weird. Like, Roy's stuff in the Kabu battle and all of that, like it didn't make any sense. Some of the battles that they did in filler episodes didn't make any sense, like the way they acted, right? So, yeah, it's inconsistent. I think that Tomiyasu being in charge, of course, it might turn the show in a direction that I don't personally like, but I can admit that he will bring a lot of stability, just like he did with Journeys towards the end, to the whole thing. Stability both in Journeys and also in Masase Pokemon Master. Even if I didn't like the way he treated Ash in his final moments, even if I didn't like the way it was done, it was executed well, objectively well. And I can admit that, right? Like, I don't like Masase Pokemon Master. Like, I don't like it just because of how they did it. But it was objectively a well-made show, a well-crafted show, right? So, yeah, a little more stability. And that stability might be needed because OLM itself is going under a major change, a major structural change. It's hard to tell how much this will change the actual staff side, like the staff side of things, but I'm sure that a lot of these big shifts between teams and divisions will affect the production desk side of things. I think a lot more than, of course, the actual animators and stuff. But it will affect it to some extent. I don't think that stuff like this won't affect anything. It does. And that could lead to scheduling problems, because the whole point of the production desk is to like, wrangle animators to do this and that and all of that, right? And to get contracts for freelancers and to organize funding and to do the PR and to do all of that. They're the apparatus behind the animators, right? They're the apparatus behind the staff. And if they're going under such big changes, like, that matters. It does have an effect. Even if it might be minor, it still will do something. So, with that said, the animation producer is in charge of Pokemon is changing for the first time since Diamond and Pearl, to my knowledge. For the first time since Diamond and Pearl, we have a different animation producer. And the old producer, Hiroyuki Kato, is moving to creative producer, which, honestly, if you guys have ever been a part of literally, like, have you ever like seen any staff list for any media production ever? Creative producer is kind of just like a bullshit role. Like, it's not, they don't really do anything. Like, they're literally just there to advise and stuff. Yeah.
The way I know is that in movies, it's kind of like it's someone's way of like signing off on a project. Like,
exactly.
Steven Spielberg producing a movie shows that like it has this stamp of approval.
Been working on Pokemon for decades, so it's not really surprising that he's signing off kind of like Uyama did. Maybe he only stayed on for the first year to make sure that Horizons was done well, and maybe that's the reason why they brought Yajima back too. Like, Yajima was there to make sure, because there was some major staff changes at the start of Horizon. So, Yajima might have been brought on to make sure the first year went well, that the staff and the writers and the new animation teams and all that kind of got all their shit together and executed properly, right? Now they're reverting back to their old structure, as in, they brought the new people on, everyone's settled in, now it's go time. They go back to their old production structure, right? So, we'll see what that means, right? We'll see, does the quality improve or decline, right, in the next arc? I'm very worried that, like I said this earlier, I'm very, very worried that this arc, despite being the arc that needs the best animation maybe of any of the arcs of the show, might have the worst animation, which would suck. I really, really hope that's not the case, because I feel like it's going to be like, I don't know, I'm just getting that feeling. So, yeah. So we have the producer changes. Now, let's talk a bit about future episodes before I wrap up. I kind of have to go. So, let's talk a bit about the future episodes, right? So, we got some information from Korokoro. Well, I didn't get it. Griffin's friend, Chinese friend, Saint, posted Chinese leaks of Korokoro. And then I didn't really Google Translate, but I looked up basically everything and asked Griffin if the translation was right. He said it's pretty much right. And basically, what it said, I'm going to go read it. Alright, episode 48. Shine, the brilliance of fire and art. Roy, in the midst of his terrestrial training, reunites with Nemo and Artisan and Bowser. Hasaku, who watches the battle from the sidelines, he's an Elite Four member, suggests that Roy and the others should contribute to the town's ongoing art festival. What kind of art will Liko, Roy, and Not Great Hero with their Pokemon partners? So, honestly, I feel like I've been baited a bit by Saint. I feel like the Nemona part of that summary should be Colza. I'm or Brassius, whatever you want to call him. But apparently it's Nemona. Like, I've looked at the Chinese thing over and over, and it says Nemona. So, and of course, PFT also posted Nemona in his like little leak Twitter account or whatever. I don't know if Saint just got it wrong when he was translating it from Chinese, but it 100% says Nemona. So I don't know, like, because based on episode 46, Roy should be going to fight Brassius. That's why he's going to be going to Bulltown. So I don't know what the fuck's happening. Like, I feel like the summary I got must have been wrong, because there's no way it's not Brassius there. Like, what? I don't really get it. Like, I'm actually confused. I'm genuinely confused on whether that's like are we 100% on this? It doesn't seem like it. Yeah, I might be wrong, and I might get made fun of on Twitter again. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Sweeky. I hope my shit's right. I hope it's right. But with that said, then there's the other episode, which of course is a little less interesting. Episode 49, Dot and Gurumin, like, Dot is completing her Terastal training under the tutelage of Iono, who challenges her to a training match. During the match, Dot doesn't seem to be able to bring out her full potential, so Iono suggests that Dot use the Gurumin suit to battle. That's whatever. I don't know. The episode, I mean, I love Dot episodes, so it's going to be fun, but I don't really think there's going to be that crazy of an alteration to the plot or whatever. Like, I don't think it's going to be a super momentous episode. It'll just be
Terra Electric Miss Magius might look fun, though.
She's not using Miss Magius. She's using Belly Bolt.
Ow.
Yeah, no, they're not using their strongest mons. Like, not really. Maybe Katie and them are, but there's no way they're using their best ones. Like, she's using Belly Bolt, and yeah, that's just kind of how it is. She's not using her fucking Miss Magius. That would be way fucking overkill for a cat Quaxley. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, she's not that mean. Anyway, so that's what we have. I kind of went over all of my thoughts and theories and fears. Do you guys have any final thoughts? Because before I end the podcast.
Well, I still wonder what Terapagos is gonna do. Like, at the start, Liko said she wanted to hide it a bit, but then it keeps popping out of the bag, and I'm like, that's not doing a good job at all. It's literally popping out in public, so I don't get what.
Jesse and James always got by with putting on a hat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to read into it too closely, because it does, like, whenever she's talking with people, it's in the bag, right? It only popped out really out of the bag, like, when they were out in the middle of town, where, you know, they're too far away from people to actually figure out what the fuck it is. And two,
also during the battle.
But no one was paying attention to it during the time, right? Everyone was watching the battle. Although I really do think it would have been very good if Jita saw it and she narrowed her eyes or something. That would have been really fucking good. If she saw Terapagos poking its head out watching the fight. That would have been actually I would have actually no, I would have been like, dude, Sato, you're so fucking smart. But he didn't do that for some reason. But yeah, you know, we are kind of sitting here wondering when Terapagos is actually going to do something, right? I mean, this was a big issue of Arc 2 where Terapagos didn't do anything in its own arc finale.
Yeah, so
I don't know. It didn't even use its shield. It should have used its shield. I mean, of course,
in the finale.
I liked that Amethio blocked it because that was cool. But Terapagos should have used the shield to block that, bruh. It could still use the shield even if it can't go into its terrestrial form for long. It can still use the shield even when it's dependent. So I don't know why it didn't use the shield. I have no.
Oh my god,
Turtle's the goat, bro.
There was the moment in episode 45 where Quaxley or they all got destroyed by the Draco meteor, I think. Yeah, it's it could have just used the shield. Do anything at all. Oh my god, that was just painful to watch
I think we're
Terapagos
going to be getting an Area
emotions.
Zero arc because we're going to be seeing Terapagos do something, maybe, hopefully. The fact, also, the ending gives me hope. They literally showed Liko commanding Terapagos as one of her Pokemon in the ending, right? So,
Yeah.
gives me hope. It gives me hope. But yeah, I think we're going to have to call it here. I do think that we might be doing podcasts every week now, or every other week at least, because, you know, anime's picking up. Like, we barely did any during Arc 2 just because, I mean, let's face it, Arc 2 was fucking dog shit. And yeah, there's very little interest. So, we might be doing it. With that said, everyone, if you're watching this on YouTube and you somehow are not in the Discord server already, because I do know I do get average between 100 and 200 views on these VODs on YouTube. So if you do end up watching this and you're not in the Discord server, join the Brave Asagi Discord server. It is in the link in the description. I hold these podcasts on that Discord server in the voice chat with the server members. I mean, you know, the people who are talking right now are literally just random people who are in the Discord who pop in and talk, right? So if you want to come in, you want to be part of the discussions, absolutely feel free. And, you know, the Brave Asagi is the most active Pokemon anime Discord server on the internet. It's the most active of any of them. And honestly, it is the most active Pokemon community hub for the anime of anything. It's more active than even the subreddit is. And I'm also a mod on the subreddit. Like, I know how active the subreddit is. Even though the subreddit has 40 fucking thousand people, it's not as active as this server is. And we have, you know, we have great artists, we have great YouTubers, all that on here. There's constant discussion, basically 24/7 about the show and, you know, just general community stuff. We do giveaways, competitions, all that. I will actually be I'm planning on holding a showdown tournament next month. A big showdown tournament, maybe like $300 prize pool or something.
Oh, I'm gonna win that.
Yeah. And, of course, we live stream the episodes, right? Kalos, actually, he's a friend of mine. Kellius is actually a friend of mine, but he recently got a new job, and he isn't able to stream the episodes as they air live anymore. He does restream them about an hour or two later, but if you don't want to get spoiled on Twitter about this, and you want to watch the episodes live, and you don't know how to do an RTMP stream with Move 3 or whatever the fuck, because only like true bottom of the barrel jobless neckbeards like people on this podcast know how to do that, join the Brave Asagi Discord server. We stream the episodes live every week, and we'll be doing so as they air at 6:25 a.m. Eastern, or, well, it's 5:55 or 5:25. Is it 5:55 or is it it's 6:55, isn't it? Yeah, 6:55 JST, and you know, 6:25 a.m. Eastern, right? Or no, 5:55 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, that's when they air. Yeah, 5:55 a.m. Eastern. I forgot. Yeah, 5:55 a.m. Eastern. 6:25 is when they end. So don't join 6:25. 5:55 a.m. Eastern time. In this voice chat, I think, actually in this voice chat is where they do it. So yeah, join the Brave Asagi Discord server is in the description below. Of course, follow my Twitter. It's in the link. I'm monthly. And yeah, thanks to everyone who came out for the podcast today. We had quite the discussion. I went through a lot of stuff. I've been talking for almost 30 hours. So yeah. Actually, no, it's been 2 hours. Actually, this is actually shorter. I remember the last podcast we did, it was like 4 hours long or something. Anyway, yeah. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks to everyone in the Discord server who comes out and make these podcasts a success. A lot of fun today. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Maybe not next week. It depends on what happens. If the episode next week is really fucking good, maybe we'll do it. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think I might do the next episode several weeks from now. This next podcast, after Dot has her episode and we're done with the introductory episodes, I think we'll be doing another one. But yeah, until then, peace. See you guys.